Hey there, and welcome. Today, we are diving into a really important law for any professional in Mexico who handles client information. It's a bit of an alphabet soup, the LFPDPPP, but by the end of this quick explainer, you're going to know exactly what it is and why it matters to you. So let's jump right in. So, let me ask you something right off the bat. In your day-to-day, do you handle client data? We're talking names, phone numbers, maybe even financial info. If that answer is yes, and for most of us it is, then you're going to want to listen up.
Because you see, if you're dealing with that kind of information, this law isn't just some boring regulation. Think of it as your professional Bible. It's the guide that protects you, your business, and, most importantly, your clients. It's basically your legal shield.
All right, so what exactly is this law? Let's get into its official name and what it's all about. Okay, the full name is a mouthful for sure. It's the Federal Law on the Protection of Personal Data Held by Private Parties. Now, the key phrase you really got to catch there is held by private parties. This means it's for us, professionals, companies, individuals, not just for the government. And its purpose? Well, Article 1 lays it out perfectly. It's there to, and I'm quoting here, guarantee privacy and the right to informational self-determination. In plain English, it's all about giving people control over their own personal information. So we know this law exists, but the million-dollar question is, does it actually apply to you? Let's figure out who is legally on the hook here. And spoiler alert, it's almost certainly you. First things first, we gotta get what personal data actually means. The law defines it as any information about an identified or identifiable person. And trust me, that is a very broad definition. It covers everything from a name or email to their financial history. And the person whose data we're talking about, the law calls them the data subject or titular. But to keep it simple, just think of them as your client. They are the owner of all that information you're handling. Let's make this really concrete. Imagine you're a real estate advisor. You routinely collect a client's full name, right? You ask about their marital status, you need their employment and income data, and of course, you get their signature on a bunch of documents. Every single one of those little details is personal data, and it's all protected under this law. Okay, so if you're the one handling all this sensitive information, the law gives you a very specific title, and a very critical set of responsibilities that go with it. And here it is, the absolute crucial point. If you are the one deciding how and why your client's data is being used, if you're calling the shots, then the law says you are the responsible party. And that title comes with some pretty serious legal duties. So what does handling the data actually mean? The law uses the word processing, and it covers literally everything. Getting the data in the first place, using it, sharing it with someone else, or even just letting it sit in a file on your computer. It's all processing. Now that you know you're the responsible party, what are the rules of the road? Well, the law boils it all down to a core set of principles, and they're all about building trust with your clients. These 4 principles, they're the absolute foundation of this entire law. You have to act with lawfulness, you need your client's consent, you must provide them with clear information, and you have to operate with loyalty. It's all about respecting the trust they put in you. And just to hammer one of those principles home, Article 7 makes it crystal clear. It flat out says that you can't get data through deceptive or fraudulent means. Being transparent isn't just a nice to have, it's a legal requirement. It really is the cornerstone of building that client trust. All right, so as we start to wrap this up, let's be absolutely clear about what's really at stake here. If you only take away one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. Protecting your client's data isn't just about being a good person or having good business ethics. It is a firm legal obligation, and it has real, actual consequences if you don't follow it. Now, while all personal data is protected, the law is smart enough to know that some types of data are way more, sensitive than others. We're talking about things like health information, racial origin, political views, stuff that, if it got out, could lead to serious discrimination or risk. And that brings us to our final, really important question. Do you actually know what qualifies as sensitive personal data in your line of work? And more importantly, do you know the extra strict rules that you have to follow for it? Well, we're going to dive deep into that in our next explainer. Thanks for joining us.